Phillip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers, and this morning I'm looking at a book from Routledge. It's one that I use actually within my teaching, and I thought it would be very useful to do a review of it. I haven't had this book from Routledge or anything like this. It's something I actually use. It's the question and answers book for constitutional and administrative law. It's actually for the previous year, 2013 to 14. I'm awaiting a new one. It's got a companion website to go with it, and it's been written by Helen, Fenwick and Gavin Phillipson. My wife Elizabeth and I looked at the book and we've had a chat about it, and we've got a title for our review, which is "These question and answer topics for constitutional and administrative law are brilliant for your final revision programme." And they are. This is the book itself. It's not a big book at all. That's the front, that's the side, and there's the back. You see there's a lot of information put in the book. It runs to under 300 pages. There's the index at the back. Then you've got the structure of the book itself, the various questions. So what, for instance, you've got here, we're dealing with freedom of expression, question 37, you have the question, then you actually have points to answer, and then the answer structure, and then the answer itself. Some people think the answers are very long. There's been some comment about that, but I think the answers are just about right, because you're never going to write that much in the actual exam hall, so it's important to have a lot of information, and then you can pick what you need within the time frame you've got when you're actually doing the answer. Common pitfalls, I think, is also very helpful, because if you're a distance learner in particular, you're not going to be talking to people, so you're not really going to have any discussion about what the issues may be, so this book will be a helpful friend to you in those circumstances. That's the basic blurb and mission statement of what Routledge Q&A series do. There's the actual front page there. Then there are 12 topic areas. Maybe that you'll pick about 7 of them to revise thoroughly, so you've got the questions in those areas anyway. Table of cases, you're not going to bother too much about, and statutes and legislation as well. Then the guide to the companion website. I'm spending a bit of time on that because it's important. This new approach to the way that teaching is done, the learning outcomes are slightly different, because you've got the paper version of the book. You've now got the website as well, and that website's got a lot of additional material in it which will be of help. Multiple choice questions, law cards are obviously very helpful to go with this particular publication, but you've got a lot of additional studying places within the website as well. Now the introduction sets out how to deal with both the problem and the essay questions, the length of the answer, expressing a point of view, common pitfalls, exam papers, and suggestions for exam technique. And as I've indicated, the common pitfalls are quite clearly there. What you've also got is a nice little checklist for each chapter, which shows you what you should be thinking about. Then they launch into the questions and the answers. I'm very pleased with this. I never had anything like this when I did my academic exams. They weren't on the market in those days, and so I think it's great. We did have suggested solutions which were despised by the examiners, I hasten to add, but they were some help, because it gave you some idea as the student what the examiner might want in the way of the content of the answer. Now that was always a bit of a problem, because length is always difficult, because you don't have that much time, but you do need to know get the basics across, and that's what the Q&A series do. Now this is what we say about the book. We say, as publishers, Routledge state, you can always trust the Q&As because they improve your exam technique, allow you to practice essay narrative and problem questions and answers, avoid the most common pitfalls and errors, and learn what it takes to raise your grades, because today you're looking to get a high grade. You're going to need one in order to progress through into the professional world, if that's what you wish to do. The companion website also gives you additional advice and exercises, which is online. Now what Helen, Fenwick and Gavin Phillipson have produced here is an excellent statement of the main points of study in 12 topic areas for both constitutional and for administrative law, and they're always joined together at this level. Catering for undergraduates looking for a departure from traditional law texts and revision materials which are available. And they set out in this excellent Q&A book a formidable explanation of the subject of the two linked areas in easy, understandable terms from what can be a difficult area of law for many to study and teach, that may look superficially easy. Quite a lot of people are very turned off by constitutional political issues, and so again it can be a problem, and it's something that this book helps to ease. The section I thought on human rights matters in the chapter 9 part of the book is of particular assistance to those new to the law, and as with all Routledge textbooks, this particular title is probably the best on the market because it's an introduction to the way in which constitutional administrative law operates, and the self-testing is also very helpful. We consider that the book has a much wider potential readership for anyone interested in the development of the topical law areas as well, and one of the main reasons we like Routledge is because of the outstanding value in terms of both content and cost when it explains through the legal experts who are the authors of these actual books the substantive legal issues which are at stake, and they're done in a readable fashion, and I think you'll remember quite a lot of what you've read. For both tutors and students, therefore, the decision on which textbook or revision book is always going to be difficult, but it's clear to us from feedback that these represent probably some of the best that are currently on the market. It depends really on what your tutor advises you, because there's a big range now of material which there just wasn't a few years ago. I'm delighted because it makes it a lot easier to explain everything. The Routledge texts lead the field though to our mind, and many of their texts have excellent links to the websites, plus this innovative companion website. We like the formats that Routledge use as well, because it's nice and logical. It makes you think logically about how you're going to present your answer in the examination hall. Obviously there's very much of a mainstream formula that they adopt for these legal texts, and it eases the student into methods of legal reasoning for those just beginning their legal studies. They certainly helped us with the preparation that we had to think about when we've been doing a bit of tutoring, but as I say, I never had them when I did my exams. The Q&A series as a whole does have the companion website also with it, and you get study tips and advice and a lot of other information which is of great help. As I've indicated before, the common pitfalls I think are the main area, because if you're not careful you're going to go off at a tangent when you really got to keep into the mainstream of thought as to what the examiner's question is actually asking. Therefore the Q&A structure is also of high significance. I know they're a bit long, but they will help when you come to sketch out your answer in the exam hall. And as I say, the website is a bit of an innovation. Look at the features at the beginning of the book and you'll see how you can use it. There's much food for thought throughout this excellent undergraduate Q&A for its topicality and where we are now and where we're going with both current constitutional issues and administrative law issues in the 21st century. So thank you very much, Routledge. Just to refresh your memory, that's what the book looks like. Spine, back page, a lot of detail on the back page, a lot to take in, and just reflecting. Here we go, there's an answer structure there again, emboldened in places, but it'll help you when you're looking at the question. You should go in prepared. You've had your topics and prepared them, so you think you know what's going to be there, so you should be able to get on with it quite quickly. Then you've got the answer. For instance, that's dealing with the House of Commons and what they do. Then this one is also about scrutiny in House of Commons. You can see that the areas are pretty straightforward. My own feeling is that a lot of these subjects are not that difficult once you get into them, but don't be afraid. Good luck in the exams, and I'm sure you'll find this extremely helpful. Thank you to the authors and Routledge very much indeed. Bye-bye.